Okay, so this is the test 3 presentation, and for this we're going to be going and answering questions using different methods from this past unit. So for number 1, I've already answered that, but this is using rational exponents. So we know that this is the bottom, it's root, so it goes on the bottom, and this is the exponent, so it goes on top, and this is the variable. Okay, so when you rewrite that, before we rewrite that, you have to divide 5 divided by 5 equals 1, and that goes on top. And then, since we divided, this one stays the same because we used it to divide. Okay, and then to have gotten 1/5, we had to multiply 5 by 1, so that equals a 1/5 to the 5th power, which gives you the answer C. For number 2, first, the easiest thing to look at is to find the ones that divide most easily by 2. Okay, so j to the 9th does not divide by 2, so we can just go ahead and mark that one out. This one does not divide by 2, and this one does not divide by 2, and that leaves us with C as our answer. So when we go back, 28, j to the 4th, j to the 8th, c to the 8th, and we work that out, the square root of 28 gives us 2 square root of 7. And then j to the 8th divided by 2 equals j to the 4th. And then, c to the 8th divided by 2 equals c to the 4th. Okay, and then you just rewrite that as 7 j to the 4th, c to the 4th, square root of 2j, and that's takes you back to the beginning of the question. So for number 3, which statement is true? So now we have to go through here and work these out. I already worked these out on a separate sheet of paper. It's over here, and I got my answer as C. And I got C, circle all of it, because step 1 would be to find the cube root of 216, and the cube root of 216 is 6. And then you just divided a to the 3rd by 3, and you got a, and then you divided b to the 9th by 3, and you got b to the 3rd. So that was the final answer for that. Okay, number 4, which is the factored form of 9x squared minus 36x y plus 36y squared. So what you're going to do for this one is you're going to factor out, first you're going to pull out any common factors that they all have. Okay, so start by 3. They're all divisible by 3. And you're going to put 3 out front since that's what you divided it by. So it would be 3x squared minus 12xy plus 12y squared. Okay, and so the next step would be to multiply the first and the last term. So that would be, multiply the a and c terms. So a times c is 30. 3 times 12 is 36. And then you're going to write down the factors of 36. The factors of 36 are 1, 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. And now you're going to look and see which of those factors gives you 12. Okay, and that'd be 6 and 6. Okay, so we're just going to replace the middle term with 6 and 6. So 3x squared minus 6x minus 6y plus 12 squared. Now you're going to group these onto two sides. So we'll group the first half together and then we'll group the second half together. So 3x squared and 6x are both divisible by 3x. So you write that down here. Okay, 3x. Okay, so 3x divided by 3x. Okay, so 3x squared divided by 3x leaves you with x. And then negative 6x divided by 3x leaves you with negative 2. Okay, and then negative 6y and 12y squared are both divisible by 6y. So 6y, negative 6y divided by 6 would be y minus 2y. Oops. That would just be, oops, I'll completely mess up. Negative 1 divided by 2y. Okay, so we have 3. Okay, so these terms, oopsies. The first term, 3x and 6y. You're going to want to group those together, so bring those over here. So 3x minus 6y and x minus 2 negative 1 minus 2y. Okay, 3x minus 6y squared would bring us over here to our answer D. Okay, so for number 5, we're going to solve by factoring. And for this one, okay, so each of these is divisible by 2. So the first step would be to pull out any common factors, and all are divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 divided by 2. Put 2 out front, so that's what we divided by. 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. 2x divided by 2 is just x. Then negative 4 divided by 2 is just negative 2. And then the next step would be to factor out negative 2. Okay, so let's go over here and write out the factors of negative 2. Okay, so the factors of negative 2 are negative 1 and 2. And we got this by multiplying the first and last term, so 1 by negative 2 and got negative 2. So factors of negative 2 are negative 1 and 2. Okay, and then now we're just going to substitute this back into the equation. Okay, so, alright, 2x squared minus 1x plus 2x minus 2. Now you're going to group these into separate sides. So the first side, they're both divisible by they're both divisible by x. So divide by x, put x on the outside, and you get x minus 1. And the second one, they're both divisible by 2, and so you'll put 2 on the outside. 2x divided by 2 is just x. And then negative 2 divided by 2 is just negative 1. Okay, and so to write out the equation, the x minus 1, since we have it twice, it gets written twice. Oops, I mean once, sorry. And then x plus 2 is written in the front. So I'll just cross this out. Since that's what since the first half was divided by x, second half was divided by 2, that's the first part. And then since both sides turned out with x minus 1, we write x minus 1 in parentheses. And since the entire equation was divided by 2 at the beginning, we put the 2 on the outside. And that leads us to our answer, which is B. Okay, so for number 6, we're going to solve this one by using the X method. And the X method is just where you write out the problem and an X just like that. But first, we're going to label the numbers A, B, and C. So A, B, and C. Okay, and so now we fill in the X. AC over A, B. And to get these numbers, we just look at our original equation. So AC is negative 24 because it's 2 multiplied by negative 12, the A and C terms. So we get negative 24. And B is negative 5. And the over A terms are what we'll come back to in a minute. So now let's factor out negative 24. Factors of negative 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Okay, and make each one of these a negative. The negative can be on either side, really, but so if the negative one's on this side, it would add up to give us negative 5. If we had this one's definitely out. 2 minus 12, that's definitely out. 6 minus 4, that's definitely out. So 8 minus 3 gives us 5, but the negative would have to go on the 8th side, so negative 8 plus 3 would give us negative 5. And that's where the over A terms come in. So we'll put 3 over A, negative 8 over A, and 3 over 2, and then we have negative 8 over 2. And negative 8 over 2 equals 4. And so we bring this term, both of these terms over here, and the 3 over 2, you flip it, and so it becomes 2, and the first term goes with x because both sides have an x, and so 3 over 2 becomes 2x plus 3. And this one is a negative 4, and so we bring that over, and there's negative 4 goes in the back, x minus negative 4. So our final answer is 2x plus 3, x minus negative 4, and that gives us the answer B. Okay, so for number 7, this one is going to be solved by using x as well. Okay, so AC over A for A, B. Okay, so it's A, B, C. And 25 times 4 is 100, and B is 20. Okay, so now we're going to write out the factors of 100. So 1 and 100, 2 and 50, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, and 10 and 10. Now we're going to be looking for the factors that multiply to give us 100 but add up to give us 20. And that would be 10 and 10. So 10 and 10. So 10 over a, that'd be 4, 10 over 4. And since these can reduce, the biggest number that goes into both of them is 2. And so you get 5 over 2 and 5 over 2. And so remember, the x, okay, and since it's flipped, the 2 goes in the front, so 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5, and since it's there twice, you can write 2x plus 5 squared, and you write 2x plus 5 squared because it's the same equation twice. It's just a simpler way to write it, and so that gives us A is our answer. Okay, for number 8, we're going to be solving this equation by adding and subtracting like terms. So, like terms, we're gonna add shapes around the terms that are like. So, 3x squared, 2x squared, and negative 6 and 5, put circles around. So 3x squared plus 2x squared equals 5x squared, and negative 6 plus 5 equals negative 1. So 5x squared minus 1 gives us A. Okay, and for number 9, it says, which expression represents the area of the rectangle below in square units? Okay, so we know the formula for area is length times width. So area equals length times width. So 3x plus 2 times 2x. And we're going to multiply everything in the parentheses by 2x. So 2x times 3x gives us 6x squared. And then 2x times 2 gives us 4x. And that is our answer. And that answer is D. Okay, so for number 10, it says simplify the expression. We're going to do this by adding, subtracting like terms. Okay, so the expression is 3x cubed, minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 1 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. And since there's a negative right there, we have to multiply everything in these parentheses by that negative. And since there's no number there, we know it's automatically a 1. So, okay. So, negative 1 times 3x cubed is, let me rewrite it down here so we'll have room. It's negative 3x cubed. And 4x squared times negative 1 is negative 4x squared. Negative 2x times negative 1 is 2x. And 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And we'll bring down these. So, plus 1. Bring down this other side of the equation. X2 cubed. And now we're gonna simplify it all. So we'll start with the biggest. So that'd be 3x cubed minus 3x cubed. That equals 0. So those cancel out. Negative 4x squared minus 4x squared gives us negative 8x squared. Mark those out too. And 2x plus 2x equals 4x. And the last one we have negative 1 plus negative 1. And so 1 plus negative 1 means 1 minus 1, and 1 minus 1 equals 0, so those both cancel out. And our final answer is negative 8x squared plus 4x. And that is answer B. And that's it.